What is good to my fire gang? What's poppin', y'all? Today was the free agency for the NBA, and you know damn well that I had to come out with a video. Unfortunately, my co-host is not on the live with me, so it's just gonna be me, the actual, Dolo, the actual owner of the channel. So but we will, get his feedback on what he thinks about everything. Like I said to y'all, this will be the last, hopefully the last live that I will do without a camera. So just so y'all know, just bear with me. You know what I mean? I'm figuring out everything to do to get this channel more lit. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me, and I'm gonna keep coming at y'all with these videos. So today, a lot went down, man. If y'all been living under a rock or something, I'm gonna just let y'all know what happened today. And if tomorrow something else happens, you know what? I'll come out with another live tomorrow. But as of right now, these are the moves that have happened, and let's see what y'all think. So first things first, Jamal Murray signs an extension with Denver, which I think that's a good move for Denver. Denver, has already had the kid for a little minute, so what's the sense of really going after another point guard and trying to build around him? So they're moving towards an extension. Um, I guess the biggest story we can really talk about is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They signed to the Brooklyn Nets, which I think is crazy because they're basically gambling on. Basically, if y'all think about it, this move reminds me of. Remember when in what 2010 I think it was, or 11, when the Celtics traded Paul Pierce and KG to the Nets? So it was basically Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Brook Lopez. And at that time, Brook Lopez was like more of a household name, I would say. So they had Brook Lopez and all them. So it was basically like a big five, bro. Like I know Paul Pierce and KG were like out of their prime, but Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, and Brook Lopez were like in their prime still. And on paper, that team looked like they should have been crazy, and they weren't as good. So I'm having a feeling it's starting to look like that. Like KD, Kyrie, and DeAndre Jordan on paper should look really good, but what is KD gonna look like again? You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to say. Like, people have to think about the whole thing. But if KD and Kyrie can make it work, and they have a good team, I'm not a hater. You know what I mean? I still like Kyrie as a fan. I just, as a Celtics fan, I just think that last year was not the greatest year. So he has to come back, and for me, he has to come back and hoop and lead that team, which they still have young players. So we're gonna have to see how he controls himself this year with the young players without KD most of the year. Because remember, KD's gonna be out most of the year with his injury. So we're gonna have to see how Kyrie handles the team. How he basically treats the young players, because he just basically failed at doing that with the Celtics. So he's basically going to the same scenario. So we're gonna have to see how that works out. And he lost DeMarre Carroll, so that's another veteran player that he lost. How he likes veteran players, so that's why I brought that up. So Tobias Harris is heading back to Philly on a 5-year deal for 180 million. So basically, Philadelphia went after Tobias over Jimmy Butler. That goes to just show you, like, Jimmy Butler is, I think, definitely a better player than Tobias. But that just goes to show you, like, just the talking, like, over talking. Like, all right, Tom Brady talks. Like, I think LeBron James, he talks. I think there's certain players of the magnitude of what they bring to the table, they can say something. But then, like, if you talk too much, you start scaring people, and then people think like you just have a loose cannon mouth, and then it can cause problems. So that's why I think probably Philly ended up going with Tobias Harris, which is just like a blue collar type of player, which he just comes in, does his job, stays quiet, doesn't really complain about much. Never really heard anything bad about Tobias. So with that being said, I think they just chose Jimmy Butler to go to the Heat, which I'm gonna talk about in a second. And they kept Tobias for 5 years. Breaking news: they also just signed Al Horford, As a Celtics fan, as a Celtics like I bleed green, y'all. Like if y'all will ever know anything about this channel, y'all will know how biased I'm. Like a little biased with the Celtics. I love them since I was a kid, bro. Since I was like, put it like this, since Ricky Davis, Paul Pierce, Delonte West, that was a team I was growing up watching. I still fuck with them heavy, and I wasn't living in the Boston area, so like that goes to show you like how much I love that team. So yeah, Al Horford leaving the Celtics, that means we have to pick up a big man because we just lost Aaron Baines. Like we might have a big man in the works already. Because I think why would we let Aaron Baines just walk if we know Al Horford possibly was leaving? You know what I mean? Like, are we leaning towards our rookie, Williams, Robert Williams? Because he was good. He did pretty solid for me. He just didn't have like enough playing time. So Robert Williams, are we putting the trust in him, or are we talking to Ernest Canner? I read that Willie Cauley-Stein, you know, he had requested a trade from the Kings because the Kings were trying to go after Al Horford and stuff. So I think he was a little upset about that. So we'll see how that all works out. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. But like, what center can the Celtics really go for right now? Ernest Canner, I guess. Vucevic just re-signed. Like, who was? I don't know, man. I'm hoping that the Celtics pick up a center because we definitely gonna need it, unless we're trying to play small ball all year, which I don't know how that's gonna work. Um, Mike Scott also re-signed with Philly for 2 years, 9.8 mil. That's a big move for them because they need like veteran players like that don't cost a lot. Um, Damari Carroll is heading to the San Antonio Spurs for 13 mils for 2 years. Damari Carroll. That's crazy. That's a big move for me for the Spurs because they didn't have like a clutch defender last year. And I think that's what, like, Popovich can put any team together, but he's always had like some type of defender, you know? And I feel like the Spurs last year didn't really have like that clutch defender. Damari Carroll could be that guy, I think. Nerlens Noel is returning to OKC. So he agreed on a contract extension, and he re-signed with OKC, so he's gonna stay there. Oh, this one right here I want to talk about for a little bit. Julius Randle signs to the Knicks for 3 years, 63 mil. So this is what y'all got next. James Dolan. This is what you bringing to the table, bro. As a Boston fan, I feel bad for the Knicks fans. You know what I mean? Because like, we've pretty much been spoiled in terms of like sports history. I'm not talking about just basketball. You know what I mean? Because we obviously know basketball. Who has the most rings in the NBA? You know what I mean? It's the Celtics. So second comes the Lakers. So it's like we've won. I'm not saying the Celtics all like, but what I'm saying is for a Knicks fan to just sit there, watch Porzingis go to the Mavericks, watch all this money be opened up in cap space for all this hope that James Dolan once again does, and then all of a sudden Kyrie falls through. You don't offer Kevin Durant a max contract, which just signing Kevin Durant to the Knicks would have automatically started making the Knicks more of a talk. Just signing Kevin Durant. Then you would have had Kyrie also, and you would have already had DeAndre Jordan in spot with all the little pieces that you have, like Knox, like Dennis Smith Jr. Like, how did you fuck this up? Sorry to curse, y'all, for any kids that are watching this. How did you mess this up, bro? Y'all pick up Julius Randle, of all players. Not saying Julius Randle's a bad player, because I would have loved him on the Celtics. Don't get me wrong. But this is y'all savior? This is what we doing? Like, so what? Next year you're gonna pick up Ricky Rubio, and then that's the next piece? Like, what is the big picture for y'all? Because I feel like every year is the Knicks year since they've grabbed Carmelo, and then like even when they grabbed Carmelo, I felt like they weren't really putting everything to the table. Because when you grab Carmelo, you sold half the team with it. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between grabbing Carmelo, adding him to another star, and having another star come with him. after, even the next year. There's a big difference between that and signing Carmelo, saying, "Oh, we got the big name that y'all always wanted, but I gave up 8 players to get him." Like, it's a big difference between that, and I don't think James Dolan gets that. I think he just goes for the biggest name, sells out for it, and doesn't have a backup plan ever. He never has a backup plan for what the fuck he got going on, and that shit. As a Celtics fan, I feel bad for y'all Knicks fans, boy. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that's what's happened so far in terms of just like the first flurry that we got. Then after, I started reading like little things like Thaddeus Young to the Bulls. I think Thaddeus Young's a decent player. I think he never really lived up to what he was supposed to be. Cause like his length and his athleticism, he plays defense. He can't really shoot. He kind of has like a Ben Simmons problem, but he's not as bad as Ben Simmons. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? In terms of how much he can shoot, like his percentage and shit like that. So I don't want people to think like he can just not shoot. He can't not shoot. You know what I mean? He's in the NBA for a reason. It's not only because of his athleticism. He has like a scoring ability, more of a floater game instead of like a shot creator type build, but still respected in the NBA. So that's why he got his 3 years for 41 mil. So he's making damn well over 10 mil a year. You know what I mean? So, Daniel House is returning to Houston for 3 years, 11 mil. Ricky Rubio is joining the Phoenix Suns, which Phoenix Suns I think just got a little bit better with this because they kind of depend on Devin Booker a little too much with the ball handling, and I think Ricky Rubio would add a sense of I got you, bro. Like, kick it to me, I'm gonna kick it back to you type feel that Devin Booker probably needs to become more of a Klay Thompson type of vibe. Jeremy Lamb is on his way to Indiana Pacers for 3 years, 31 mil. Jeremy Lamb is getting paid still. I don't understand what people see in that kid. I was a big Jeremy Lamb fan when he was on OKC, and kind of let me down every time. You know what I mean? He's one of those players I always talk good about, and then like the year would come up and he just wouldn't do it enough. You know what I mean? So just speaking on that real quick. Bogdanovic is heading. Bojan Bogdanovic, I hope I said that right, is heading to Utah for 4 years, 73 mil. Malcolm Brogdon is heading to the Pacers, which that is very shocking. For 4 years, 85 mil. Indiana Pacers sent a first round pick and 2 seconds to the Milwaukee Bucks. So it was kind of like a sign and trade type of deal, I guess. Thomas Bryant is returning to the Wizards for 3 years, 25 mil. Rodney Hood is returning to Portland for 2 years, 16 mil. So that should be good for Portland because pretty sure they signed Damian Lillard to Supermax. JJ Redick is going to New Orleans Pelicans for 2 years, $26.5 million. So he's getting $13.25 million a year. JJ Redick in New Orleans. I guess Zion gonna have a lot of passing to do. Derek Williams hasn't been in the league in years, so let's not bring him up. Derrick Rose is on his way to Detroit for 2 years, 15 mil. I honestly probably would have paid D Rose that on the Boston Celtics because he had a great year. I think I would have paid him 7.5. I think that's respectable. But Detroit just got themselves a good ass point guard. I'll say that. If he has any type of year that he did this year on Detroit next year, you're gonna start seeing like talks as comeback player of the year. Like he's doing something that like a lot of people gave up on Derrick Rose. And as one of the biggest Derrick Rose fans, anybody knows me growing up knows how much I love Derrick Rose. Literally my layup package was Derrick Rose style. Like I loved the fanciness in his game. I loved how fast he would go. I loved all that like about his layup package. I added that to my game. And like obviously I'm not saying like, oh, I'm NBA like, but I'm saying like that's how much of a fan of Derrick Rose I was. So to see like everybody just quit on him when he kept getting hurt is understandable, but I felt bad. You know what I mean? I felt genuinely bad for the guy because when he won the MVP, he was one of the youngest MVPs to ever win it, and he literally was in tears about just how far he's come. He's a dude from Chicago that probably shouldn't have made it, and he did. And, he's come a long way, man. I just, Derrick Rose, if you ever hear any of my videos, man, just know that you have a supporter here. Because, man, the year that you had, I'll put a lot of respect on your name. Jonas Valanciunas is returning to the Memphis Grizzlies for 3 years, $45 million. Speaking on that, I guess, like, what else could they really do? They just gave up Marc Gasol. You know what I mean? It's almost like what the Knicks should have did. The Knicks gave up their best player and didn't pick up anything else, and didn't keep anything else. At least they're saying, like, all right, we gave up Marc Gasol for Valanciunas. You know what? Let's just invest in Valanciunas and at least show them that we tried with him before we just go out there and look crazy. So they gave him 3 years, $45 million. So he's getting $15 million a year. I think that's deserved. He brings a little bit of a vibe to your team that shows like you're not tanking. You're not completely tanking, because he's gonna play hard. He just isn't as talented as what Marc Gasol is, so that's understandable. Porzingis is returning to Dallas for a 5-year, $158 million contract. 158 mils for 5 years. So he's basically getting 30 point something mil a year, which is crazy because he's coming off an injury. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess the Mavericks are really investing in him, and they think like him and Doncic are gonna be like that tandem to that people are gonna have to deal with, and them being, I guess that kind of works out for them. So, maybe that'll all work out. Philadelphia has opened up extension contracts with Ben Simmons. With how the ending of the playoffs went, I think that was a little. He's an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's super talented, but like, it's a shooting league. And if you can't shoot threes in this league, you're gonna struggle. And it showed, bro. Like, literally, Philadelphia was getting played 4 on 5 on defense. On offense, if Philadelphia was bringing up the ball, say Ben Simmons was bringing up the ball halfway up the court, where they were standing for him is below the free throw line to make sure that Ben Simmons wasn't gonna score in the paint, because that's what he can do. But he also cannot shoot at all. So that's a liability the whole time, sitting there on the court. Like, he's facilitating a little bit because he has the natural ability of just, being unselfish, and that's one of his upsides, is being a passing point guard. He's like a LeBron James version. But where LeBron James made people respect him was if you sagged off, he was hitting that shit. Whether people like it or not, or think that LeBron can't shoot or not, you left him too deep. Like if he was at the 3-point line, you're standing at the free throw line, he'll give you a stupid ass look and shoot that shit every time. Because he's gonna look at you like, buddy, you're testing me to shoot this? I'm gonna shoot that, and like, as you should, because you're an NBA player. That's what you should be doing. But like, for Ben Simmons to not have a shot. And I don't see no work putting in. Like, there's no video footage of Ben Simmons putting in work. At least Markelle Fultz was trying to get his game better. Ben Simmons just looks like his life is so lit in the offseason that he don't care about none of that. He don't care about none of that. He's just worried about getting on the court, staying healthy, and playing. He don't want to add nothing to his game. And that's crazy. And he thinks, like, almost like a cockiness of him thinks that he doesn't need to shoot. You know what I mean? In the NBA shooting league, this man thinks he does not need to shoot, and that is crazy to me because I don't think he's gonna last. He's gonna last if he adds a little more to his game, or if the game changes to a fast pace, fast break type of game. But right now, as of right now, 2019, the NBA league is a 3-point shooting league, and that's where he's looking like less than less than I wouldn't say less than a star, but less than like the under echelons of the stars. You know what I mean? Like you're not the top tier of the stars. You're like the bottom half, like the Russell Westbrooks. Like like there's the Steph Currys, there's the Kyries, there's the Chris Pauls of the league, and then there's like the Westbrooks, the like players like that, like the Mike Conleys. Like, all right, you're top of your team, especially you're probably the best point guard in your team every year, but you team up with another great point guard, you're just another guy. So kind of getting feeling like Ben Simmons is like that kind of guy. Um, but they're gonna open up a contract extension with him, so hopefully they get that done so that Philly can suck for a little longer. But adding Al Horford to their team, I'm not gonna lie, is a big piece. Like that stretches out Joel Embiid even farther now. Joel Embiid can post up. Joel Embiid can now shoot the three with no problem and have a backup plan. Joel Embiid can do almost anything now, and that's really the person that's gonna help as much. It's also gonna help Ben Simmons because if Al Horford has the fifth guy outside too, now Ben Simmons can drive and kick, and you know what I mean. And like now he wouldn't look so bad because the defense can't double team him as much. Um, Garrett Temple is joining Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Jordan on the Brooklyn Nets for 2 years, 10 mil. So 5 years, 5 years, 5 million a year for 2 years. Trevor Ariza is joining Dwayne Dedman and going to the Kings. Trevor Ariza is gonna get 2 years, 25 mil. Al Farouk Aminu, which was on Portland last year, I believe, is gonna go to the Magic for 3 years, 29 mil. So far that's what I've gotten. I'm gonna check right now to see if there's any new stories, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh, and Jimmy Butler was traded to the Heat. Pretty sure Jason, I think that's his name. Hold on, let me see. So the Miami Heat will acquire star wing Jimmy Butler in a sign and trade from the 76ers. Butler will get a full 4-year contract max for 142 mil. Philadelphia will receive Josh Richardson in exchange, while point guard Goran Dragic was sent to the Dallas Mavericks to help free up cap space. Butler is 29, had a bizarre season last year. I think he's gonna have a great year with Miami Heat. Also, y'all hearing it first here. Probably not hearing it first here, but like a lot of people probably don't know this. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw Dwayne Wade say something like, "Oh, if I was to ever come back to the league out of retirement, the only place I would play for is the Miami Heat. I would not play for anybody else." Then he tagged at Jimmy Butler and said, what's up, Jimmy?" or something like that. And then Jimmy Butler replied, "What's up, big head?" So, with that being said, do y'all think, like, comment down below if y'all think Dwayne Wade would really come out of retirement to play with Jimmy Butler? Because now it's done. Now Jimmy Butler is going to the Heat. Do you think Dwayne Wade, because they played with each other on the Bulls, they have like a pretty cool relationship. Do y'all think Dwayne Wade will really come out of retirement to play with the Miami Heat this year, now that Jimmy Butler's there? Comment down below, like, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate, I just want to take 1 minute to let y'all know. I appreciate all the messages. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the people that subscribe. All the feedback, the constructive criticism that y'all giving me about the channel, what I can do better. I'm listening to all that. Trust me. Trust me. I appreciate everybody that looks out and shows love, and it's just motivating me to do better. So I just wanted to show that love and respect for y'all real quick. I hope everybody has a good night. Tomorrow, if anything else happens, I will definitely get back on live and give y'all a little feedback and give my little input on things. So I just wanted to let y'all know I appreciate y'all and follow the gang, man. Man, that's on the gang.